girls, we are in GoMath, Chapter 8, Multiply Fractions by Whole Numbers. So we've done Lesson 8.1 already. Now we're going to go ahead and move into Lesson 8.2, which is called Multiples of Fractions, and it's on page 333. So 333 and Lesson 8.3. 8.2, sorry about that. Hi boys and girls, we are on page 333, lesson 8.2, multiples of fractions. So we look at the first problem and it says, Jen is making 4 pans of baked ziti. For each pan, she needs 2/3 cup of cheese. Her measuring cup can scoop 1/3 cup of cheese. Remember how we talk about how math relates to real life? This is going to be something you'll be doing one day. You will be baking and baking a lot or cooking, and your measurement cups are only coming 1/4 or 1/2, and it's like, hey, you need 3/4. So you have to use that measuring 1/4 cup several times. So this is exactly like how you do real life. How many scoops of cheese does she need for 4 pans? So it says you use a model to write the product of 4 times 2/3 as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. Oh, we were just doing that. We were going, 4 times 1/3 equals 4/3. We just did that in the last lesson. It's almost a review of what we were doing. So we have to think, okay, she needs 2/3 per pan. So what is that going to look like? So we have to go, okay, well, 2/3 really equals, if we're doing repeated addition, it really looks like 1/3 plus 1/3. So 2/3 equals 1/3 plus 1/3. But if we're multiplying it, we really know that means we have 2 1/3, so 2 times 1/3. So 2 times 1/3 equals 2/3, or 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. That's just 2 different ways to represent it. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the problem. We know she's making 4 pans of ziti, and we know that each pan requires 2/3 a cup of cheese. So the first pan here, 1 pan, we see she uses 1/3 a cup of cheese and another 1/3 cup of cheese. So 2 times 1/3 equals 2/3. Then we look at the next problem. So she has 2 pans here. So now she has 2 pans times 2 times 1/3 of a cup. So 2 times 2 is 4, times that 1/3 now equals 4/3. And if we did a repeated addition, we'd be 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 4/3. But now she has her 3 pans of ziti. And so she goes, oh, I'm going to multiply 3 times what? Oh, I need 2 1/3. So 3 times 2 1/3 equals, well, we know 3 times 2 equals 6, times the 1/3, because she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 1/3 now, equals 6/3. And finally, her last pan of ziti. She's probably exhausted from cooking. So she's like, oh, I have 4 pans now. So I'm like, okay, 4 times, oh, I need 2 times the 1/3 of cheese. 4 times 2 is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, just 8 1/3 equals 8/3. So we look at the bottom here, and it says 4 times 2/3 equals 4 times 2 1/3 equals 8 times 1/3. And 8 times 1/3, we could, again, do repeat addition, 1/3 plus 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 1/3, which takes a really long time. Or we could just say 8 times 1/3 equals 8/3. Next problem shows us, use a number line to write multiples of 2/5. So instead of counting by 1/5, we're going to be skip counting by 2/5 this time. That's almost like counting by 2s, but in using fractions. So we can't stop at 1/5, but to go all the way to 1/5. So 1 times 2/5 is 2/5. Then we're going to hop over a 5th plus a 5th. That's another 2/5. So 2 times 2/5 equals 4/5. Then we're going to hop over another 5th and another fifth, because that's 2/5. And now we have 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5. That's 3 times 2/5 equals 6/5. 1/5 plus 1/5. That's 4 times 2/5. And that's going to equal 8/5. Plus 1/5 plus 1/5 is now 5 times 2/5, which equals 10/5. So multiples of 2/5 are 2/5, counting by those 2's, 4/5, 2, 4, what would be the next number? You guessed it, 6/5, 2, 4, 6, yes, 8/5, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 10/5. So looking at the following problem, it says, hey, well, 3 times 2/5 equals 6/5. We figured that out right here. Write 5/6 as a product of a whole number and a unit fraction. So again, they kind of already did this jump for us. Here is 1 2/5, here is 2 2/5, and here is 3 2/5. So 3 times 2/5 equals 6/5. So what that really means is we have, so now we see 3 times 2/5 equals 6/5. If we're breaking that down into a product and a whole number and a unit fraction, then we know that we have 6 times the unit fraction of 1/5. So on the bottom here, it says write 3 multiples of 3/8. So 1 times 3/8. Well, if I only had 1 3/8, then I can only have 3/8. So it'd almost be like if I was like, hey, what's 1 times 3? Well, you only have 1 3, so it's 3. 1 times 3/8, you only have 1 3/8, so it's 3/8. The next one says 2 times 3/8. That's like saying, hey, we have 3/8 plus 3/8. You have 2 of them. So 3 plus 3 is 6. So you have 6/8. And the last one says 3 times 3/8. That's like saying, hey, you have 1 3/8, 2 3/8, and 3 3/8. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 more is 9. So now we know we have 9/8. Then we look over, and they want you to represent it in a number line. So 1/8, 2/8, I bet you guessed it, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, bet you guessed it again, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8, 9/8, and 10/8. You notice I wrote in here, Miss Ferguson, why did you do that? So we'll have to maybe write on the bottom. Multiples of 3/8 are. So we're going to go ahead and do that problem. We're going to say the multiples of 3/8 are obviously 3/8. I'm writing down here because I ran out of room. Comma, 6/8. Because now we're skip counting by those 3's. And 9/8. If we really wanted to get fancy, 3, 6, 9. What would be the next one? Oh, yep, you guessed it. 12/8. There you go. Thanks. So looking at the next problem, number 2, list the next 4 multiples of the fraction. Oh, we can do this quite easily. So it's like we're going to be skip counting from 3, 6. So 3, 6. So 3 plus 3 is, yes. So we have 6, 6. Plus 3 more, we have 9, 6. Plus 3 more, 12, 6. And, you guessed it, 15, 6. So that's like going 1 times 3, 6, 2 times 3, 6, 3 times 3, 6, 4 times 3, 6, and 5 times 3, 6 would give you these multiples. Now, we have to skip count by 2/10. So we know, oh, we're going to skip count by those 2's there. So 2/10. If I had 2 2/10, we would have 4/10. So 1 times 2/10 is 2/10. 2 times 2/10 is 4/10. 3 times 2/10 would be 6/10. 4 times 2/10 would be 8/10. And 5 times 2/10 would be 10/10. Oh, we know 10/10 equals a what? Yes, a whole. Now it says, write the product as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. So again, we're going to multiply, have that whole number, and then we're going to go ahead and have that unit fraction. So here it shows me 3 times 3/4. So here's 1 3/4, here's 2 3/4, and here's 3 3/4. Ah, so that's what I see right there. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is, my unit fraction is really 1/4. So I'm like, oh, 3 times 3 is 9. Or I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 9 times 1/4. So 9 1/4 equals 9/4. It also, 9 times 1/4 is the same thing as saying 3 times 3/4. But if you look, 3 times 3 is 9. And we have 4 as the denominator because that's the fractional part we're using. And last but not least, 2 times 4/6. So here we have, oh my goodness, we have 4/6 here. Then we have a second 4/6 here. 4/6 plus 4/6 is 8/6. So now I'm like, okay, well, what do I have to do? Well, I have 8/6 now. That really means I have 8 times, really, what are we doing? Times 1/6. So 8 times 1/6 is equivalent to 2 times 4/6. And then if you look, you guys, 2 times 4 is really 8. And the fraction we're using is, the parts that we're using the whole, is 6. Now you're going to be working on your own.